March 10th. Okay. The March 10th meeting of the WVU Faculty Senate will come to order. Our first item of business is approval of the minutes of the February Faculty Senate meeting, which were attached to your agenda. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Not seeing any changes or corrections to the minutes. The minutes are approved. Next up is my report. We are entering a very busy period for Faculty Senate. We are announcing a variety of calls for nominations, elections, volunteer committees, and new proposed guidelines. We appreciate the assistance of each senator in amplifying communications of the Faculty Senate and directing any questions you do not feel confident answering to the Faculty Senate office. I will complete my term in June, and Scott Critchlow will assume the chair position. That means it is time to elect the next chair-elect for Faculty Senate. Nominations are now open for those interested in leading the Faculty Senate. Those interested and qualified will present a position statement at the April Faculty Senate meeting. The vote will occur after the April meeting. You can self-nominate or nominate a friend. They like it. By emailing Corey Hunt before March 21st. We will also now open the floor for nominations for the chair-elect position. Are there any nominations from the floor? It's really fun when you surprise someone. It's enjoyable for everyone. Okay. If you are interested, please email Corey Hunt before March 21st. Nominations for the Faculty Senate Secretary and Faculty Representative for State Government are also currently open. These positions are voted on and appointed by the Faculty Senate Executive Committee. Nominations for these positions will remain open until April 14th. Anyone interested in any of these positions I just mentioned can reach out to Corey Hunt or to myself for further information. Finally, nominations for Faculty Senators have been received, and the voting process for senators will begin on March 17th and conclude at the end of the month. Please be on the lookout for emails with further information about how to vote. These sometimes go to junk and/or your other email in the Outlook app, so please make sure that you check those two sources starting on Monday. Finally, nope, this is not finally, but as I hope I always think I'm done. I'm not. As always, I hope you are all aware by now, the Board of Governors has selected the next president of West Virginia University, Michael Benson. We are excited by this choice and welcome President Benson and his family to the Mountaineer family. President Benson brings a vast experience in higher ed leadership and has been successful in his previous presidencies that we feel prepare him for success here. President Benson reached out to the Faculty Senate quickly after he was named and has voiced and demonstrated a commitment to shared governance. I met with him briefly this morning, and he will be meeting with all of the Faculty Senate leadership team later this week. He will also be addressing this group via Zoom at our April meeting on the 7th. As transition planning continues, we will seek an opportunity for the members of the Faculty Senate to meet President Benson in person once he assumes the presidency. I would like to acknowledge the search process that led to the selection. Our sincerest gratitude is extended to Maura McLaughlin, Jennifer Walker, and Lauren Prinzo, the faculty members of the search committee, and to Dr. Patrice Harris, chairperson of the selection committee, for their hard work and hours of effort throughout this process. Frankie Tack and Leslie Cottrell, faculty representatives on the Board of Governors, should also be recognized for their exemplary representation of the faculty during the final round of interviews and selection. None of this really seems sufficient given the size of the task, but I'm not allowed to give out prizes, so gratitude's going to have to do. This is lastly, we have just become aware of a very concerning bill that was introduced into the House, HB 3279. For those of you keeping notes, HB 3729. It would remove the voting rights from the 2 faculty representatives, the staff representative, and the student representative on the WVU Board of Governors. Faculty, staff, and student voices are critical in providing broad and comprehensive input into the governing process for this university. The introduction of this bill is disappointing at best. We will be studying and monitoring the bill and providing feedback and guidance to faculty as the legislative session continues. Are there any questions for me? Luckily, Scott Critchlow is an attentive to detail. He said that I said the number 2 different ways. It is HB 3279. 3279. I do have number. That's why I'm not good at math. Emily.
Hi, Emily Murphy, the College of Applied Human Sciences. It was surprising to me for some of the information from the presidential search to be made public that I thought wasn't supposed to be made public. Do you think that what is happening in the legislature, or can anybody answer? Do you think that that has anything to do with what's going on with this new bill 3279?
You know, Emily, I would hope not. And if that were the case, it would be it would be extremely disappointing. I don't know the origin of the bill, but I know that the faculty are disturbed by the legislation, and we will not stand by.
Leslie Cottrell, School of Medicine. I'd like to recognize Shirley Robinson, Chair of Staff Council.
Good afternoon.
Hi, Shirley.
I was just made aware of this bill probably about an hour ago. And I was very disturbed by what they're trying to move forward. Our staff would not be in favor of this bill. It takes away our rights. It takes away us having a voice. And if this passes, we won't have a voice.
I agree, Shirley.
And we're not a dictatorship at West Virginia University. All of our opinions matter.
I agree, Shirley. Foundation of shared governance. Thank you.
Hello, Joe Jones, College of Creative Arts and Media. And forgive my ignorance for this. Is there a way our president or our leadership could ignore this law? Like, is this law something that is going to force the institution to do this? Or as an independent institution, can we say, that's great, you have the suggestion, but our leadership is going to look like something different?
As I understand it, our Board of Governors composition is determined by state law.
Okay.
So the answer to that question is probably no. We cannot
Okay.
just ignore it.
Okay, cool, thank you.
Any other questions?
Hi, Eugenia Peña Jeftoheb, Davis College. What I see here, and I think everybody will be with me, is this is the start of something that has happened in other universities. I think, I don't want to sound like I'm bringing the worst of the worst, but the Senate is in danger. I think this is the start. And what I would say is that, how secret is this? So can we actually show the public the consequences? So write maybe a little document in writing, which are the consequences of us not being there. I will definitely need help, but just with the transformation that we had, I think we saw how important it was to have a representative there that did as much as they could. We know not enough, but at least something. At least we had a voice, like everybody has said. I propose that we write a document and make this more public, even because what else can we do at this point?
I agree. I think that's an excellent idea.
Thank you.
Eloise?
Thank you. Eloise Elliott, College of Applied Human Sciences. Tomorrow, our government relations lead, Travis Mullahan, will be speaking to the Education Committee about this, and we would love to have any of your talking points that you have, just like Shirley's, if you will send them to my email. We're putting something together today, this evening, and I'd like to hear from you. So if you'll just send them to me, that would be helpful.
Thank you, Eloise. Doug Terry online.
Hi, my camera isn't working, but I was just wondering, do you recommend that senators contact our legislators and let them know that we don't approve of this bill?
Yes, I do. I think that we are all, those of us who are residents of the state are represented by our legislative leaders and have a voice in the process. And I encourage contact. Yes.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Oh, hi.
Hi.
I saw you standing there. I'm sorry.
It's okay. Brian Powell, Statler College. I did want to mention for everybody, if you go on wvlegislature.gov and look up Bill 3279, when it displays information on this bill, there will be a submit public comment button towards the top right corner of the screen. That will get sent to, be part of the public record for the bill and sent to the committee where it is. So right now, this bill was introduced today and has been sent to the Committee on Education in the House. Emailing them, the members directly might be good too, but at least I get something in the record.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Okay. Moving on. Next on our agenda is approval of the consent agenda. The consent agenda is used to handle routine and non-controversial matters. Any member of the Faculty Senate can request that an item be removed from the consent agenda and handled in regular business. Is there any item that a faculty senator would like removed from the consent agenda? Seeing no requests to remove items, we will move to a vote. All of those in favor of approving the consent agenda, consisting of the Curriculum Committee's new program report, program change report, new course report, and course change report, all attached as annexes 1 through 4, and the General Education Foundations Committee, GEF actions as Annex 5. All of those, excuse me, I just totally lost. All of those please, all of those who are in favor, oh my gosh, please signify by saying aye or raising your hand online. You can lower your hands online. Any opposition, please say nay. Right, thank you. The consent agenda is accepted. Next up is our standing reports. We will start with the Curriculum Committee Chairperson, Darko. Darko?
Thank you, Dan. In this review period, at our last meeting, the Faculty Senate Curriculum Committee has reviewed 10 programs and 49 course proposals, out of which 30 were new course proposals and 19 were course change proposals. So we continue with the avalanche of proposals and continue to elbow through them. Our next meeting is on this Thursday, March the 13th, and that's it.
Great, thank you. I'd like to commend the committee. They have done a heck of a lot of work this spring and have done a lot of program and course approvals. So thank you, Darko.
Thank you, Dan.
Are there any questions for Darko? Okay. Next up, our report from Cody Hood, Chairperson of JEFCO. Cody?
Thank you. So in addition to what was approved from the Jeff actions in the consent agenda, we have for information, the honors faculty fellow courses have been acknowledged as well. So I'm happy to answer any questions related to that. And that's the end of the report.
Any questions for Cody? All right, thank you, Cody. Next up, Sherry Chisholm, Chairperson of TACO.
Hi, everyone. TACO committee is this spring has been continuing to discuss proposed changes, additions to the questions on spot, as well as the choices used for each question. Proposed changes and additions are being finalized and will be coming forward at the upcoming Senate executive meeting and then to the Senate meeting in April. The Qualtrics survey to make recommendations and suggestions for questions is still live. So unit leaders are encouraged to submit based on feedback from their units.
Great. Thank you, Sherry.
Thank you.
Any questions for Sherry? Okay. Now for the Committee on Committees, Ilkin.
Good afternoon. We have Annex 6, which defines 4 new committee membership distribution. They are the new committees established, and they didn't have the distribution come up with these numbers for coming year. And then research committee was combined this year as a single committee. These are the new membership distribution.
Okay.
Any questions?
I have a quick question. Has the survey for volunteers for next year's committees gone out yet?
I don't think so,
Okay, thank you.
but Corey can. Yes.
It'll be going out this week. Thank you. Any questions for Ilkin? Looks like you got off. You're good. Yep, thank you. Next up is a report from our representative to state government, Eloise Elliott.
Thank you. It's a little bit longer today. First of all, as Diana mentioned, we're concerned about this new House Bill 3279. And as I mentioned, if you have any talking points you'd like to send my way, we'll certainly work those in. We're going to send something in the morning to Travis as he meets with education. So we're definitely concerned about this, and we'll keep a close watch on it to determine what immediate action is needed. Another bill of top priority is Senate Bill 474. That's the governor's DEI bill that included his executive order to end diversity, equity, and inclusion programs. Just so you know how that happened, I know some of you have had questions about that. So related to DEI, our government relations leadership team submitted a requested university report to the Higher Education Policy Commission that was required to be sent by all of the higher education presidents. The reports outlined university concerns and needed exceptions. And from that, HEPC worked with the governor's office to get those exceptions included in Senate Bill 474. So you can see all those if you looked at Under the Dome, the March 3rd issue. Those were all outlined, the exceptions. I can read those to you if you haven't seen that, but just to highlight a few of those exceptions included most of our concerns that we've heard from faculty and that we know are particular concerns to us, like academic course instruction, academic departments that exist primarily for offering courses with degree credit, research or creative work by faculty, students, or other research personnel, and distribution of the research and creative works. Registered student organizations and their activities, mental or physical health services, services that support individuals with disabilities, policies and practices designed to prevent sexual harassment, STEM opportunities for women, and compliance with obligations under applicable federal and state law or court order. So, and people working in any of those things I mentioned. So that bill passed the Judiciary Committee last Thursday and is now in the Finance Committee. So we'll just continue to monitor that and make sure all the exceptions are retained. Other bills we're watching and keeping an eye on are Senate Bill 460. That's permitting exemptions to mandatory children vaccination requirements. I know a lot of our folks here from health sciences and the med school have been there, lobbying against this bill. And it is stuck right now in health in the House Health and Human Resources Committee, where it was on Friday. I'm not sure. I checked it today, but I think it's still there. Also, the one House Bill 2396, which is distribution or exhibition of obscene matters to minors. I call that the library bill, but it's also bigger than the library. There's really been no movement on that bill as of Friday. The Senate Bill 2737, it's called the Higher Education Health and Aid Grant. This is the student-led bill. Is Charlie here? Our student president.
He usually has class until later.
Oh. This will provide West Virginia institutions of higher education an opportunity to receive grants to address student food insecurities and student health and hygiene inadequacies. I know the students have been there at the Capitol. They were there last week, and it was supposed to be introduced in the House Higher Education Subcommittee sometime this week. There are two PEIA bills that were recently introduced. They're House Bill 2965 and 2968. They have almost all the same sponsors on both bills. One is it redirects PEIA employment payments to a health savings account, and the other one privatizes PEIA. Both of those bills right now they were introduced in the House and they were both sent to Senate. Now they're in the House Banking and Insurance Subcommittee. So if you remember right, that we talked about, I think we talked about earlier in the House, they now go to subcommittees after they go to before the committee send them to a subcommittee and back again. So it takes quite a while to get the bills through the House. Just the last thing I'll say, I, along with the Faculty Senate leadership team and all the folks that are down there working in Charleston from the government relations team, really try to keep up to date on all the legislations that are moving and where they are, what we need to be concerned about. So we have, Corey has, as of today, made a table, I guess you'll call it a table, on the Faculty Senate webpage that has these bills and any other bills that pop up. It doesn't have 3279 on it yet. But you can go to that and see, we'll put notes in it as soon as we learn anything new about these bills, so you can see where the bills currently are and anything that we know about them beyond just what you would see if you looked them up on the legislation website. So that's my report. If you have any questions?
Any questions for Eloise? All right, thank you, Eloise. Now, the report from the BOG from Leslie Cottrell.
Leslie Cottrell, School of Medicine. My report is also a little longer today. A lot's happened. So the recent meeting of the BOG Board of Governors took place February 20th and 21st. During this session, the primary focus was the upcoming WVU Day of Giving, which is scheduled for March 26th. We received updates from Lou Slimak, and I think we're going to hear a little bit more today as well regarding the submission of our self-study, which is really important, and our preparation of the Higher Learning Commission visit in April. We celebrated our renewal of our R1 status, as well as the positive news that we would no longer need to navigate travel authorization for travel agents. So that is legit and done. Additionally, we discussed the recent changes in NIH indirect rates, just to get the initial lay of the land, and began exploring possible actions and options for WVU. Among the consent items, bear with me, discussed and approved were several programs as usual, so including master's degree in leadership studies. There was a school and district leadership certificate program in College of Applied Health Sciences. There were also programs that were phased out, such as the Master of Science in Industrial Hygiene. We also talked about recent projects. You can see this on the consent agenda. These included the new Pride Practice Facility, County Extension Committee appointments were also part of that, and then proposed projects for our regional campuses, including the sidewalk project at WVU Tech. Then, as you can imagine, and some of this will be slight duplication from what Diana mentioned, but a significant portion of our meeting was dedicated to the search for the next president. And as we know, Dr. Michael Benson was chosen as the next president of WVU. We are very excited about his appointment, and hopefully you've had a chance to look at his background. And Dr. Benson not only brings a wealth of leadership experience, but he also has exposure and experience in rural communities from Kentucky. So now standing on this end of that process and all the questions that you had, not that we could answer all of those still, but just to reflect a little bit. I'm also impressed, and I wanted to give some time to the candidates to express their interest. Candidates included those that we were interviewed, had national leadership experience. They knew West Virginia well, and they believe in our future. And those who have part of the West Virginia community in the past and were wanting to come back and lead. And so those are just general summaries of that. And I think each candidate demonstrated remarkable commitment, putting much on the line in their personal and professional lives to go through that process. This not only reinforces, I say this, because it not only reinforces to me our reputation, but also affirms that we should have great confidence in our ability to compete with other universities in attracting exceptional. Regarding the search process, our faculty members, as Diane mentioned, truly represented us well. I was able to get to know them more closely and value them greatly. They are active partners throughout. They ensured that we had a voice at the table, even if they had to get a little loud at some points, as others might have. Search committee comprised a diverse group, and they effectively captured and prioritized faculty needs while also asking the tough questions. They collaborated seamlessly with other committee members, which included people from across the state, staff, students, administrators, and other state leaders. I also want to commend Dr. Patrice Harris for her leadership. From initial application review to the final interview, she navigated every aspect with professionalism and a keen awareness of the need to balance candidate comfort with faculty involvement. Dr. Harris worked tirelessly to foster an environment where strong candidates felt secure. And then while also actively listening to faculty input and ensuring their voices were integral to the decision-making process. Her commitment to creating open channels for faculty engagement allowed us to provide valuable feedback and options. It was not always easy, and perhaps we wanted more at times, but I feel like she felt, she was able to get some balance and us involved. Unfortunately, there were leaks of information at points during the process, which were frustrating to navigate. I hope local press will take the time to consider the character and motives of their sources. It's disappointing that some individuals prioritize personal gain over the broader benefits to this university. Despite these challenges, we became closer as a single unit. And by we, the search committee, the board, everyone involved, I felt, again, we learned who one another was and started asking questions as a single unit. Individuals, regardless of their role or relationship with the university, were able to ask questions and reach a common goal and strengthen our collective voice, which I think, and thank you for letting me get through all that, I think is really important given that the threat continues. It looks a little different, and that collective voice is going to be very important. So with that,
we'll take questions.
Questions?
Any questions for Leslie? And Frankie's not allowed to ask any. Okay. Frankie Tatt, College of Applied Human Sciences, excuse me. I just want to reiterate or ditto everything Leslie said, but you hear the list of things she went over before she talked about the presidential search. And while a lot of that may seem mundane and behind the scenes, there are consequential things that happen in every single BOG meeting, every single minute of those meetings. And not having a voting right for staff and students and faculty would diminish our voice. We may still be there to advise, but the power of that advisement would be greatly diminished. We are full board members. And I think that has been very impactful along the way in many ways. And I'm not just talking about this year or last year, but for years. BOG members who've been on for years have said to me repeatedly, we've had such a long string of excellent faculty, excellent students, and excellent staff who've brought the perspectives of the actual lived experience day to day, day in and out of what's happening on this campus. We live here, we work here, we are served here, and we serve here.
And that voice must be potent on the Board of Governors. Thank you.
Thank you, Frankie.
Cool. Second. Leslie, I don't know what you're allowed to share. Could you, and out of my own curiosity, were there women that applied for this position?
We had a diverse population of candidates,
As far as the finalists were concerned, were there any women included amongst the finalists?
and I'm not able to share.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Leslie.
Sorry.
Okay, Davis College, Eugenia Peña Jeftoev, and I'm very curious about one thing. Are there two BOGs? Because it seems that there's one in the one that you were working with and another one who's cutting us out.
There's one BOG.
Any other questions for Leslie?
Hi, Leslie, Amy Weisel, Everly College. There was a good bit of information collected in the lead up to the, evaluation of the applicants. I know there was surveys that went out. I'm sure there were questions that were drafted for the candidates about their initiatives that they would prioritize and things of that nature. And I know that you don't want to put words into the mouths of anybody in particular, but I'm thinking more about that survey that we all filled out. Maybe some people hopefully filled out, that was designed to inform the incoming president about the community they would be leading. And I think that information could be valuable to the community itself. I don't know if there's any chance that that information is, I know there was a consulting company involved. I don't know where that information went to or who claims it as theirs. But if you are aware of that kind of information that primed this candidate and now this president to lead our campuses, it'd be really helpful to have that made public somehow. Yeah.
I have no idea. I can ask and see what that process is like. Since the end of the search, it's probably not, but there might be other conversations that we could have to gain that same information.
Okay, online, Douglas Terry. Doug, if you're speaking, you're muted.
I'm sorry. I'm looking now at the text of this bill, and I'm also seeing that there's a line through the section of it that says that that the board should be made up of one of them, a chairperson of the Board of Visitors of West Virginia University Institute of Technology. And I'm wondering, I'm not really sure about how the Board of Governors is made up or who that person is even. Could somebody explain what that would mean for that person to no longer be on the Board of Governors anymore, and who the chairperson of the Board of Visitors of West Virginia, who that person is? I'm not sure what that means.
Right now, we're looking for someone to answer that question.
Well, there's
No
Paul
one.
Maddox. Paul Maddox is the representative.
Paul Maddox is the current representative.
Okay.
And I don't want to speak too far off the cuff to talk about what the implications would be, but we will follow up on that and I will get back to you.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions for Leslie?
Hi, Lauren Printo with Extension. Not necessarily a question. Well, maybe you might know Leslie, but in regards to Eugenia's comment about the Board of Governors, just to reiterate, Diana, you had said that the origin of the bill that's being proposed is unknown at this time.
Correct.
But it's being proposed by the legislature. We
Yes.
do not know the feelings of the Board of Governors in terms of how they feel about this proposal
Right.
at this time.
Yes, to clarify that question, it was introduced through the legislative process. We don't know if anyone else was involved outside of that.
Okay. And we
know,
haven't received
we know who
any
the
comment.
right. If we read the bill, we know who the originator of the bill is. That's all.
Okay. right,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yep, thank you for pointing that out. Any other questions? Leslie's like, please let me sit down. Leslie, go ahead and sit down. What the heck? Okay, next up are our guest reports. President Gee could not be here today because he's in Charleston testifying at budget hearings. And so we will move straight to our report from Associate Provost Lou Slimak to present on the HLC self-study and upcoming campus visit and on the transition to Blackboard Ultra. We're going to need slides.
Afternoon, colleagues. Two very unrelated updates for you, so I'll pause in the middle so you can ask questions about the one before I move to the other. The first is an update on our reaffirmation of accreditation with the Higher Learning Commission, which is drawing imminent. I will spare you the details I gave you last time and try and give you the updates since last time. As a refresher, these are our 5 criteria. We have submitted our self-study that covers all 5 of these criteria. There are 18 core components across those 5. That's where we actually get evaluated for meeting the criteria, meeting them with concerns, or not meeting them, which would be bad. This is now my subjective evaluation of having done these for quite a while and being a peer reviewer. I don't see any areas of concern that if we have anything with not met, I'll quit. I say that jokingly, but I don't think that we're even close. I don't actually see anything that's even close to not or met with concerns. I feel very, very grateful to all the university community who helped us complete the self-study and get that submitted. I think we're in really strong shape for the visit. Timeline of major events. We have drafted in the self-study. There's also a federal compliance report. Self-study is about 120 pages when it's all said and done. Thousands, quite literally, of supportive documents. It's kind of like an IRS audit. There's also the federal compliance report is maybe 5 pages long, and it is you are doing this or you aren't. You're providing evidence to the Department of Ed on those practices. Again, nothing of concern there. We had a self-study comment period that ran between our last meeting and this meeting, I think, or maybe 2 meetings ago. We received 15 comments, of which 5 were very actionable. 2 corrected errors of fact, 2 actually provided substantial additions, and 1 was something in between the 2. So I appreciate the folks who took the time to read that thing, whatever time you read it, and send me those thoughts. That was great. The board had endorsed the self-study or got a chance to look at it, and we submitted that after their February meeting. We are in March. We'll be preparing campus communications to let you know how the visit's going to go. I got a communication from the chair today about the visit schedule. That is kind of the main thing to communicate next. I will be sharing that out broadly soon, but just to give you an idea today, they are very short meetings on a whole bunch of topics. And the way I'm interpreting that is there are no major concerns. So they're just going to cover a whole bunch of bases. And to give you an idea of what those meetings are, I'm going to hit them real fast. Each criterion will have a meeting. Student life will have a meeting. Finance, planning, and senior leadership, 3 kind of related areas, will have meetings. Research ethics. They will meet with student leaders, undergrad students, and grad students. They will meet with enrollment management. They will meet about program review and assessment. Those are 2 separate meetings. And they will meet with our undergraduate and graduate councils in 2 separate meetings. So again, I'm very happy to see a real wide, diverse range of meetings, and all of them about a half an hour. They are stacking them back to back also. So by the time you get people into a room, get them out of the room and transfer, I'm thinking like literally 20 minutes on a topic. That seems like a really good place to be for us. I will be asking help from Senate leadership to come and have representation at a few specific meetings. And then I will also have a broad call to the faculty forum. So there's an all faculty forum that will be open to any and all faculty. There's all campus community forum that is open to everybody. So we will have those calls out soon as I nail that final visit scheduled down with the team chair this week, hopefully. We completed a student survey between the last time I talked about this with y'all. Between 2018 and 2025, there were extraordinarily parallels. In fact, it was almost the exact same set of results over the 7-year period. You can see we got quite a few more students this go around, even with less students at the institution. Again, that's great for me. I think that's wonderful to hear students use their voice. It's a 5-point scale. Typically, as an HLC reviewer, anything above 4 you're trained is great. Anything between 3, 5, and 4 is kind of a conversation. Anything below 3 is bad, and 3 to 3.5 is, again, kind of a conversation. Our overall rating didn't move much between the 2 years. 4.12 this year, 4.16 in 2018. The same distribution of scores across the 15 areas. And I mean, literally the exact same areas were all above 4. So 10 of the 15 areas above 4, all same areas from 2018 to 2025. One was below 3.5. So one area about financial counseling was our lowest both years. And financial counseling is not our financial aid services. It is a bit more of a generic life skill. It's a tough one to deliver. Like, what does it mean as a human being to have an X year loan? So it's a tough one for most institutions. So that'll be a good one to talk about with the team if they want to. Our highest score both years was literally the same, 4.41 for knowledgeable faculty. And there's an extension about that one. So congratulations for being our highest. Yeah, exactly. Highest score for both. And then the comments, we got about 250 qualitative comments. We used AI to scan those. They were pretty evenly positive and negative, which is a good sign also, because I'm used to much more negative comments than positive. And they were focused on areas of academic advising, institutional administration and communication. Those are primarily the negative ones. And weather and conditions, which were the really negative ones. The survey ran right after all that snow and ice fell. And then we canceled classes and pushed things back, and they were mad. And I mean, super mad. So that was actually the main thrust of those comments. So save the date, March 31st, April 1st. I'll keep repeating those. I will finalize that schedule this week or next. Please turn out, share your experiences with the team. We will have some highlights of what the institution has accomplished over the last few years in case you're wanting to bone up. But other than that, I don't want to give you talking points. Come and share your experience with the team and just be there. Any questions on HLC stuff? Oh, man, got away with it. All right. eCampus Ultra migration update. This is the other unrelated update. This is our move from Blackboard Original to eCampus Ultra. This affects only our non-HSC programs. HSC will stay unsold for the foreseeable future. If you use Blackboard, and this is everybody, by the way, everybody who uses Blackboard, this is an update on that timeline where we are. Summer 2025, if you teach in summer 2025, those courses will be in Blackboard Original unless you request Blackboard Ultra. That is the last time, the last term that the Blackboard Original will be the default experience. So if you want to teach in Ultra for summer, request that by March 14th, coming close. Over the summer and over the spring, ITS and the Provost Office strongly recommend that you request a development shell for your fall courses. If you haven't already taught an Ultra, and you begin moving things into Ultra and see how that's going to go. In fall, Ultra will be the default experience for everybody across the campus that's using Blackboard Ultra. That means Blackboard. It means when you come to class in August and you go to request your shell or you get your shells, it will be an Ultra shell, right? So at that point, you haven't played around with it for the most part, and I say this institutionally speaking, for the number of faculty and courses, for the most part, things have moved over well. There are some unsupported assessment types, some unsupported question types, and they are very specific. So if you happen to be someone who has loved those features, we have that on our ITS resource page. I'll share that with you here in a second. But if you happen to use those features, it's good to know that they're not going to import beforehand. So again, I would tell you to request that development shell, play around with it in between now and that point in time, because in fall, you'll be in Ultra. There will be a process to request to remain in Blackboard Original for fall. That will be like this process to request to move into Blackboard Ultra has been this past year. You'll have to email ITS, give a rationale for why you can't teach in Blackboard Ultra. My office will review that and we'll try and accommodate as many as possible. We would like that to be as small a number as humanly possible. The adoption has been, I said, has been widespread, faster, and easier than we thought. So hopefully we can keep progressing in that direction. But we know there are going to be people who experience problems or just have issues late, or you have a new faculty member or an adjunct or something where it just doesn't happen. That's fine. We will have that process to grant those exemptions. That deadline will be June 20th this summer. So if you are not planning on teaching in Ultra, you kind of have to make that decision. I realize at an odd time over the middle of summer. We will have that process remain open, but ITS moves all of these things in a technical process. I will not even try to explain. The closer we get to campus, to CLER starting, and once students start getting loaded in those shells, it starts to create problems. So the sooner you know you don't want to be in Ultra for whatever reasons, the better it is to request that exemption for fall. eCampus Original is then retired on March 23rd, 2026. So that means beginning summer and fall of 26, there is no exceptions. It is Ultra all the way. There are, there are resources, eCampus Ultra FAQ on how you move to eCampus. There is a support ticket dedicated to eCampus Ultra itself. We have great ITS colleagues who are happy to answer your questions as well. So if you get into the technical side of things, I'm going to punch you over there anyways. Any questions about the Ultra migration?
Hello,
Hi,
Megan
Megan.
Light, College of Creative Arts and Media. I just want to confirm so everyone really knows this, right? So go back to the previous slide.
Yep.
That March 23rd, 2026 date, do we need to have all of our original content out of original and moved into Ultra?
That
Does it,
is
like,
correct.
Disappear, right?
It will, we will no longer have access to it. One of the questions I've had from faculty is about the record retention, so access to data, documents, that kind of thing in original post this date. I am working through that with ITS and legal now. My understanding is we will have some access to that stuff, but those shells are gone. You will not have access to your original shells after that date. So that part is accurate. I will find out about the document access.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Hello,
Hi,
Frankie
Frankie.
Tack, College of Applied Human Sciences. I'm wondering what prompted this change of schedule, because it's pretty significant. And you know, we're talking about people who go off contract in mid-May, and we thought we had until fall of 26. So can you tell us what the rationale is?
So the schedule is the same. We are trying to encourage more people to adopt early because it has been easier than we planned. That said, you could still request a fall exception for your spring 2026 courses. So the timeline hasn't changed.
How
Remember,
could that be if it goes, excuse me, I'm sorry.
March 2026, where is it at? It's not on here. Yeah, March 26th deadline. That's for courses that are taught in the fall, right? So because you're requesting your shells a semester ahead of time, that mid-spring 2026 deadline is for the implementation. That was fall 26. And that has always been the case.
But if eCampus Original is going down March of 26, that means we have to teach in spring.
That means
In Ultra.
there will be no new requests for eCampus Original past March 2026. You will already be teaching in the spring. Let's pretend you're teaching in Original in spring. On March 2023, it's not like Original just evaporates and goes away. You will complete teaching in spring in your original shell. But those requests are then for fall and summer. All of those requests will be in Ultra.
So retired doesn't mean no longer accessible.
Correct. We will finish using Ultra in spring of 26.
Okay. And I do just want to say that the emphasis has been put on the errors in going over, but there is a pretty significant learning curve. And I'm speaking from a person I'm on my third one now. The learning curve is not inconsequential. And so I just think we need to be careful about thinking this is easy schmeezy. It may look that way if all your only metric is the errors, but there's a lot more to it than that. And having now spent, I'm probably 40 to 50 hours at least on Ultra. I'm still trying to figure some stuff out. And things don't work the same way they used to. There are things that aren't there anymore that used to be there. And I'm not talking about like assessments not migrating. I'm talking about basic stuff. Like you used to be able to put a total points on a quiz and it would divide it up among the questions. Or put a point total on a question, it would divide it up among the parts. Total score on an assessment in a way where you could use a rubric and then you could have at the bottom a point deduction for other things like late submission. Can't do that in the same way. It's much more convoluted. So I just want to say, I think we need to really make sure people understand, and I hope you won't set the bar too high for those who want to stay in Ultra, particularly those who have long course lists they have to transfer.
I want to start in reverse order. At the Faculty Senate leadership meeting, I said I was going to be as hard as I could be about those. I've already backed off that and I'll be as accommodating as I can be. So I heard
Thank
you
you.
already, Frankie. You're welcome. Secondly, I would say there is a learning curve using Ultra. It's a new LMS. It's not that radically different, but there is a learning curve. And you're right, I have been focused mainly on the errors in importing. But that for me goes back to what ITS and the Provost Office continue to encourage, which is get those development shells now, I would say. Start importing as much as you can and seeing what that learning curve is going to look like so that you're not trying to figure this out, hopefully in your summer break, and then begging me to be reasonable. I will be reasonable.
Well, Joe Jones, College of Creative Arts and Media. Are grades going to be something we'll still have access to when I have a student 10 years from now who wants a letter of recommendation? I need to look at grades.
Yes, registrar office retains grades separate from Blackboard altogether.
Okay, so we'll have to go to the registrar. They would
Correct.
probably get those. Okay. And then going back to the accreditation, is there any reason that accreditation body would be concerned if we didn't have shared governance, like as a faculty?
The
senate?
board?
Yeah. Well, no, the accreditation body, HLC.
Yeah.
Do they ever make recommendations like they would see that as a negative thing that this like faculty senate is losing representation on the board of governors?
The HLC is very much about institutional mission and institutions explaining what the core components look like on their campus.
Okay.
So that means they will not say that shared governance looks like X, Y, or Z. They will say things like faculty are expected to have substantial participation in curriculum development and review and assessment of learning. And your job is to say, this is how that looks like on our campus, and this is our mission, and this is why this looks like that, right? So the task that would fall to us, Joe, would be to explain the change and how we have continued to have shared governance after that change, given what it does to faculty representation on the board.
One, I think that just, gives us, I think, more to tell like the West Virginia government that for our accreditation body, we should have shared governance. I mean, or just, I don't want to put that in the words of the mouth of the accrediting body, but shared governance is part of our accreditation. Could we say something like that?
I would be happy to work with Senate on how it is mentioned in the core components and assumed practices, the higher learning commission.
Great. Well, thank you.
Hi, Caitlin Best, College of Creative Arts and Media. I'm just wanting to follow up on a question that Megan had asked about losing access to some of the previous course shells. Is that deadline also March 23rd, 26th, in which you'll lose access? Is there a specific deadline where?
Not yet. As
Okay.
I'm working through, we're calling that the document and record retention strategy. ITS will have those shells and stuff. We don't know, it won't be indefinitely. We assume it's several years, but we are going to then determine first with Anthology, which is the company, and then with our own general counsel, which is the records retention setting folks, and then with our faculty, how long that period will be, and then what that means for getting access to old files, old things, whatever you would want.
Right, and then I have a couple follow-up questions. Is there a way to request a shell for a course that you're not going to teach right away the fall or the spring, but you might teach the following fall so that you can then import that data over?
I'm saying yes. Please email me a question. I'm going to copy
Okay.
ITS and I'm going to let Diana know if I was wrong. I'm 99% sure yes, but I've got a little bit of a question mark.
Is it possible to have one follow-up question?
Absolutely.
Is
Yeah.
alternatively, is it possible to have some sort of tutorial as to the best way to download all of that data that you aren't planning on, previous iterations of the same course?
The old stuff, I will ask. They are going to do some asynchronous training materials to navigate a lot of this. I will ask if that can get added. Absolutely.
Tom Zenny, Chambers College.
Hi, Tom.
So for courses that have already migrated to the Ultra platform, do they need to be re-requested going forward? For example, if the course is in Ultra for spring 2025, it's being taught in summer 2025, does that need to be requested?
Summer, yes. So summer is the last time you have to request Ultra. So if you're teaching in spring in Ultra and summer, and you want to be in Ultra, you need to request that one. If you're in Ultra in spring and you're teaching that course again in fall, the answer is no, because we switched to the default being Ultra in fall. But because the summer schedule is set in spring, it's treated as a spring request. So if you want to be in Ultra this summer, you do need to request that directly.
Thank you.
Yep. That was way more exciting. Thank you very much.
All right, and now our report from Interim Provost Paul Kreider. Provost Kreider.
Thank you, Diana. Good afternoon, everybody. I just want to say another word or two. You've heard enough about Michael Benson and you've read some things, and I just want to give you a sense of my interactions with Michael Benson real quick. And they've been on email, they've been on Zoom, they've been on phone, and I find him to be very personable, unpretentious, very open, listens well. He is eager. He wants to understand how things work at the institution. I had a great meeting with him this morning, and he's going to be, I think somebody mentioned he's on campus this week, Thursday and Friday. He's got a full schedule. He is all in. He wants to hit the ground running as best he can this summer. And he met with the foundation board last Friday at their retreat, and he had a good conversation with foundation board members for a while. And again, they loved what they experienced with Michael Benson. So I am excited for the future of the institution, and I hope you are as well. That said, about leadership, there's another leadership thing I need to mention. I want to congratulate Pedro Mago, Dean of the Statler College of Engineering and Mineral Resources, who recently completed a successful 5-year review. Overall, Dean Mago's performance and leadership was rated very positive. He was commended for his respectful and collaborative leadership focused on creating a positive culture. Furthermore, Dean Mago's emphasis on recruiting and retaining talented faculty, staff, and students was recognized. Special mention was made of his leadership during COVID-19 and throughout academic transformation. As such, Dean Mago will be reappointed, and we look forward to his continued leadership in the Statler College. I'm thrilled to also announce, I mean, you've probably, I don't need to announce it, it's been announced, you've probably read it, but I would be remiss if I didn't say that the mine rescue team from the Statler College was named a winner of the International Intercollegiate Mine Emergency Rescue Development Competition in Colorado for the 3rd year in a row. Yay. This team is comprised of students and faculty from across the college, and they have done great work. Not only did they won 3 consecutive international championships, they have 4 national championships in a 4-year time frame. So we're very proud of what they've accomplished. I've mentioned this before, but I wanted to just give you a little bit more detail. The Benedum event is tomorrow night, and this spring semester is going to be a great event. We have Nina Asamakopoulos, a flute professor from the College of Creative Arts and Media, who will present points of entry from breath to branch. And then Melissa Blank, professor of psychology in the Eberly College, will present electronic cigarette dependence and protecting vulnerable populations. And then Sarah Burke Spolauer, associate professor of astronomy from the Eberly College, will present the dawning era of supermassive black hole binaries. So this is always an exciting event. You will hear what they do with their presentation. They'll do these illuminating talks, and then they'll be open for questions. And I'm sure it's going to be a great event, as it has been in the past. Please remember that it is live streamed on the Provost website if you can't attend in person at the College of Creative Arts in the Kennedy Creative Arts Center. It's a showcase for our best faculty, and I will have to tune in on the website, and I hope you can attend either way. So we have faculty awards rolling out in the coming weeks. I want to be sure to congratulate 2 faculty members who were recently named finalists for the 2024 Professor of the Year Award from the Faculty Merit Foundation of West Virginia. J.T. Hurd is a professor of mathematics at WVU Tech, and Christopher Ramazan, assistant professor of management information systems in the Chambers College, are among 5 finalists. Each year, the Faculty Merit Foundation honors outstanding faculty members from a Mountain State college or university, and the winner will be announced during an April 17 ceremony in the State Cultural Center in Charleston, and they will receive a $10,000 cash prize. I also want to congratulate 3 of our academic advisors who are recently recognized by NACADA, the Global Association for Higher Education Academic Advising. Marilyn Munster, Senior Academic Advisor in the Statler College, was recipient of the Region 3 Excellence in Advising Award for the New Advisor Award. Tara Robbins, a Student Success Coordinator in Eberly College, received a Certificate of Merit in the New Advisor category. And Jenna Edwards, a Senior Academic Advisor in the Davis College of Agriculture and Natural Resources, received the Region 3 Harriet Hurt Memorial Travel Scholarship to attend a NACADA conference this March. So our professional advisors and faculty advisors are continuing to improve the academic experience of our students across this entire university, and we are grateful for their work. Finally, a few reminders. March 26th is the annual Day of Giving. This is the university's 8th day of giving, and a 24-hour fundraising effort is organized by the W Foundation, and also the development staff in the colleges are all hands on deck during this time period. Over 36,000 gifts have been made on the WVU Day of Giving since its launch in 2017, raising more than $96 million. And finally, our new Teaching and Learning Center, led by Sarah McCorkle, has a number of workshops and engagement opportunities coming up. Tomorrow, March 11, will be a talk on how you can contribute to the Scholarship of Teaching and Learning. And on Wednesday, the 12th of March, 2 days away, is a workshop on transparent course strategies for student success. Again, transparent course strategies for student success. And then followed by several publishing and teaching related events throughout the month of April. And so be sure to visit the tlc.wvu.edu website for details and regular updates on the Teaching Learning Center. So that concludes my remarks. Are there any questions for me today?
Hi, Brian Powell, Statler College. There have been some reports in the media and on social media about PhD admission offers being rescinded from students here at WVU. Can you talk about that? How those decisions were reached, how many students were affected, and where those students are?
I'm sorry. I didn't understand what you said.
Okay.
HSC, is that what you said?
There were some, it seemed like it was over at Health Sciences, but there were reports in the media about students having their PhD admissions offers rescinded due to budgetary issues. Can you talk about that?
I don't have a lot of information on it. I do know that the Health Sciences has basically a procedure where they front load funding for these PhD students. And then the faculty members are then obligated to get grant funding in subsequent years to support those students. And I think that they may have been looking at budget and the grant climate out there right now nationally and made a decision. I don't know details beyond that. And I'm not sure if they're going to be making any changes or not. That's what I know at this point in time.
Okay. Is this something that is essentially a health sciences specific thing that we would not see those sorts of decisions on the rest of the university?
I think that's a correct assumption. I think the budget model in the health science is different than the main campus, and they made this decision based on their model.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hi,
Emily Murphy. Yeah. I was just going to ask a similar question of kind of if you could give us an update on with the FNA being lowered to the 15%, like how we are going to address that going forward, if you have any updates on that.
We have no updates at this point in time. It's still fluid and we have no definitive information to go by. Mhm. Okay, thank you.
All right, so some items of business. At the last Faculty Senate Executive Council meeting, a list of faculty members for the University Promotion and Tenure Advisory Board were approved. Do we have that to project? Those those members of the faculty were supposed to be currently projected on the screen right now, but I want to thank everyone who volunteered for the committee. We appreciate their service on this important part of the promotion and tenure process. Our next item is approval of a proposed resolution on academic freedom, inclusion, and advocacy, which was attached to your agenda as Annex 9. I would like to recognize Jacob Greenfield.
Jacob Greenfield, School of Medicine. I'd like to make a motion for a faculty senate to approve the said resolution.
Do I have a second? Thank you. Before we start our discussion on the resolution, I want to recognize that the faculty of Potomac State, who originally passed a version of this resolution in their faculty assembly meeting and forwarded it on to us. At this time, we are open for discussion on the resolution.
Hi there, Catherine Fonseca, University Libraries. I guess I had a question around the sort of evergreenness of this proclamation, just because it mentions Governor Morrissey specifically, and I don't know that we're maybe a future of having anti-higher ed governors moving forward. So just wanted to voice that particular concern around this document not necessarily being evergreen, but very much addressing the moment, right? The political moment, specific to a particular time.
Right. Thank you. Any other comments? I'm going to give you time to read the resolution. Is there any desire for changes or language changes? This is the time. Daniel.
Daniel Brewster, Everly College of Arts and Sciences. Just like wondering if we could possibly add sexual orientation to the 6th paragraph, like in between, inserting it between ethnicity and gender, and I can provide context if necessary.
Okay. Are you motioning, make an amendment?
Yeah, can I move to amend to add or insert sexual orientation between ethnicity and gender in that 6th paragraph?
So we have a motion on the floor to amend the 6th paragraph by the addition of sexual orientation. Do we have a second? Okay, thank you. Is there any discussion on the motion for an amendment? Seeing no discussion on the amendment, we will move to a voice vote on the amendment. All those in favor of amending paragraph 6 to add sexual orientation, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed, please say nay. The motion carries and the resolution is amended. Is there any further discussion on the amended resolution? Seeing no further comments or questions on the resolution, we'll move to a vote. All of those in favor of adopting the resolution as amended, please signify by saying aye. And if you're online, please raise your hand. Thankfully, they know what I mean. Okay, you can lower your hand online. All those opposed, please signify by saying nay or raising your hand online. Okay. The motion carries. Thank you very much. Okay, so also at the last Faculty Senate Executive Committee meeting, the committee voted to forward the updated University Faculty Evaluation, Promotion, and Tenure Guidelines. As a reminder, the university guidelines were last updated in 2014, and the current proposed updates, modernization have undergone an extensive review process. The guidelines proposed today were originally modified from the guidelines introduced in 2022. A subcommittee of the Faculty Senate Executive Committee modified that document after its failure at a university assembly. The Faculty Senate Executive Committee then sent that on to the Faculty Welfare Committee for a period of review and comment. Faculty Welfare sent out a university-wide survey to every faculty member in the institution and then reviewed the comments and suggestions and made some further improvements to the guidelines. Once they completed their review, the revised document was then approved by the Faculty Senate Executive Committee and forwarded on to the Faculty Senate body for approval. We will not vote nor discuss the guidelines today. For the next month, please talk to your constituents about the proposed updates. We have already received some quality comments. We have created several resources for faculty to learn about the new guidelines. A faculty-wide email will go out tomorrow with the information about the new document. We have created a page on the Faculty Senate website, or it'll be done tomorrow morning, that reviews the process so far, has a link to the new guidelines, and frequently asked questions. Faculty can also submit questions by email at facultysenateoffice@mail.wvu.edu. We will entertain a motion to approve the new guidelines at our next meeting, which will allow for discussion of the document. Until then, please communicate with your constituents about these guidelines. Get them to look at them, to read them, and to give you their opinion about them. Thank you. Is there any new business?
Juan Collignon, College of Business and Economics. I had a question to Corey that I sent today, a little late before the meeting. I think I went on the website. I don't know if it will change content tomorrow, as you say, for the revisions of the guidelines. The document we received doesn't show where the modifications were made. Do we know if we will receive a document that shows highlighted where the modification of the previous document
Are you, so there is not a document that would show the modifications from the 2014 document because there has been an extensive reorganization and rewriting, although really it's just been modernization of language and expectations. But no, we do not have a strike-through version of the 2014 guidelines. We do have a marked up comment of the 2022 guidelines. But we
So
can share
that's
those.
available on the website, or did you send it to
We
us?
can we can post that on the website as well. I will. Is that what you? Thanks. We will get that done. Daniel.
Tina Brewster, Eberly College of Arts and Sciences. I just wanted to bring attention to the entire faculty, something that was brought to faculty welfare 10 days ago. A couple senators came to acknowledge this, and I think we should all kind of keep our ears to the ground. So the new compliance website that replaced the old diversity, equity, and inclusion website, they updated the non-discrimination policy on that website probably about 10 days ago, removing sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, and genetic inheritance from the non-discrimination policy for the university. I reached out to the provost office, Provost Kreider took immediate action to get that website changed. But that non-discrimination policy is up for review in front of the BOG in April of this year. And so found it really, and there was really no explanation why it was removed. It wasn't a simple copy and paste. Like these items were not in the same like order on the website. So like it was very clear that someone had decided to remove those, whether it was a student, a staff member, whatever, not, kind of pointing fingers, but it is kind of alarming that it really felt for, at least the people who reached out to us that we were capitulating to something that had not even been asked of us already. And just a general concern that similar to so many of the things that have been said today, that like we're heading in that direction. So April 2025, that'll be under review from BOG. So I assume that means public comment.
Thank you, Daniel, for bringing that to our attention. I appreciate it. Any other new business? All right, seeing no further new business, we are adjourned.